A new minivan can cost more than some families paid for their first house. Yet the school-run grocery trip and weekend soccer schedule do not become any more glamorous just because the payment is larger. The uncomfortable truth is that many buyers are financing technology, fresh paint, and dealership smell, while ignoring older vans that already proved they can carry children, lumber, wheelchairs, dogs, and half a garage sale without demanding luxury car money. That does not mean every cheap minivan is a bargain. Some are cheap because the transmission is tired, the doors have become electrically possessed, or the previous owner treated oil changes like optional suggestions. But 3 used minivans stand out because the right years combine useful space, widely available parts, understandable mechanical systems, and enough durability to make a 5 or 6 year loan feel unnecessary. We are not looking for perfect vehicles or promising that any van will reach a magic mileage. We are looking for the versions that give a careful second owner the best chance of buying transportation instead of buying trouble. And the final van is the one that most clearly shows why an older powertrain can be worth more than a newer badge. The rules are simple. The engine and transmission have to be proven. Common repairs must be predictable. Parts cannot be exotic. And the van still needs to work as a van. That means doors that open wide, seats that fold or move without a wrestling match, enough power for highway merging, and an interior that can survive real family use. Service history matters more than shiny headlights and a pre-purchase inspection, matters more than any reputation. A neglected Toyota can be a worse purchase than a well-maintained Dodge, while a suspiciously cheap Honda can erase its savings with one overdue maintenance job. Keep that in mind as we start with number 3, the van that is often described as the obvious Japanese choice, but only becomes a smart purchase when you understand one expensive service item and one model year trap. Number 3 is the 2014 through 2017 Honda Odyssey, and its greatest strength is that it does not drive like a moving storage unit. Honda gave this generation a lower, more car-like feel than many competitors, so the steering is direct, the body feels controlled, and the driver is less likely to feel as though the family vacation has turned into a shift behind the wheel of an airport shuttle. Under the hood is a 3.5-liter V6 rated at 248 horsepower, paired with a 6-speed automatic in these later 4th-generation models. That combination gives the Odyssey enough strength for full loads and highway passing without relying on a turbocharger. The engine uses Honda's variable cylinder management system to reduce fuel use during light load driving, and the van can return respectable highway fuel economy when driven gently. Those numbers are useful, but the real buying advantage is not a brochure figure. It is how common the J-Series V6 family is. Variations of this engine family appeared across Honda and Acura products, which helps with parts availability, technician familiarity, and the odds that an independent shop has seen the basic layout before. The Odyssey also earns its place because the interior was designed by people who apparently understood that children do not enter vehicles in an orderly line. The sliding doors open wide, the 3rd row disappears into the rear floor, and 8-passenger versions can move a large family without making every stop feel like boarding a small aircraft. The flat cargo area behind the folded 3rd row is especially useful for strollers, mobility equipment, home improvement supplies, or luggage that somehow doubles in volume on the return trip. But the Odyssey is not on this list because the Honda badge grants immunity from repair bills. The reason to focus on 2014 through 2017 is that earlier, 2011 through 2013 examples deserve more caution. Certain early vans could develop misfire codes and fouled spark plugs associated with piston ring problems. That does not make every early van defective, but it means a buyer looking at one should check the VIN repair history, oil level, and diagnostic history, instead of assuming that a clean dashboard today tells the whole story. The later years also give you the 6-speed automatic across the lineup, but transmission condition still has to be judged by behavior and maintenance, not by reputation. On a test drive, the van should shift cleanly when cold, and warm should not flare between gears and should not shudder under light throttle. Honda automatics are sensitive to correct fluid, so service records showing appropriate transmission fluid changes are worth more than a fresh set of floor mats. Then there is the maintenance item that separates informed buyers from bargain hunters: the timing belt. This engine does not use a lifetime timing chain. The belt is a scheduled service item, normally replaced together with the water pump and related components. Many owners and shops plan for that major service around the 100,000-mile neighborhood, but age, climate, and the vehicle's actual maintenance history matter. If there is no receipt, no sticker, and no believable record, treat the job as due. Do not accept the previous owner probably did it as evidence. A used Odyssey with 120,000 miles and a documented belt service may be a safer purchase than one with 85,000 miles and a mystery history, because calendar age counts too. The variable cylinder management system also deserves an honest discussion. On some VCM-equipped Hondas, owners have reported oil consumption, spark plug fouling, or worn active engine mounts. During the inspection, let the Odyssey idle with the air conditioning on and off. Watch for excessive vibration through the steering wheel or seat. Listen for clunks when shifting from reverse to drive. And check the oil before the engine is started. Low oil is not a diagnosis by itself, but it is a reason to ask harder questions. Some owners install aftermarket devices intended to alter VCM operation. Yet the presence of one is not proof that the engine is healthy, and buyers should consider emissions rules and professional advice before modifying factory controls. The better approach is to buy the cleanest, best documented van you can find. Scan it for stored or pending codes, and inspect the mounts, plugs, fluids, and belt history. Also, test both sliding doors repeatedly, from the key fob, dashboard switches, and exterior handles. Power doors are wonderful when they work, and surprisingly expensive when they decide that halfway open is a reasonable final position. Check the rear air conditioning every seat, latch the backup camera, and the condition of the lower door tracks, because family vans collect spilled drinks and road debris in places designers never expected. Who should buy the Odyssey? The family that values driving comfort, flexible seating, and a strong, naturally aspirated V6, and is disciplined enough to handle major maintenance on time. Who should walk away? Anyone shopping only by lowest price. Anyone unwilling to verify the timing belt, and anyone who hears a shudder but hopes a bottle of additive will negotiate with it. Bought carefully. The 2014 through 2017 Odyssey can be an excellent long-term family vehicle. Bought lazily, it can greet you with a four-figure maintenance bill before the temporary plate comes off. The next van is almost the opposite. It does not carry the same reputation. It is rarely the first recommendation in an online argument, and its cabin will not convince anyone that you secretly bought a luxury SUV. Yet, when the goal is maximum space for minimum purchase price, number 2 can make the Odyssey look expensive. Number 2 is the 2014 through 2020 Dodge Grand Caravan. The van that became so common that the used market often treats it like office furniture. Chrysler sold enormous numbers of this basic platform to families, rental companies, contractors, government fleets, and businesses. That widespread use destroyed any sense of exclusivity, but it also created a deep supply of used vehicles, recycled parts, aftermarket components, and technicians familiar with the layout. In pure utility per dollar, that matters. The engine is the 3.6-liter Pentastar V6, rated at 283 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque in Grand Caravan applications, driving the front wheels through the 6-speed 62 TE automatic. Those numbers give it stronger acceleration than its bargain basement resale value suggests. More important, the engine was used across a wide family of Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles, So basic service items are not rare specialty parts that have to arrive by carrier pigeon. Then there is the feature that gives this van a practical advantage over almost everything else at the same price. Stow and go seating. On equipped models, the second row seats fold into floor wells and the third row folds into the rear floor, allowing the van to change from passenger carrier to enclosed cargo box without removing large seats and finding a place to store them. For a parent who also carries bicycles, tools, furniture, camping gear, or a mobility device, that flexibility can be more valuable than a prettier dashboard. A Grand Caravan can serve as the family car on Friday, the hardware store truck on Saturday, and the moving van for a college student on Sunday. That is why contractors and small businesses keep buying old ones after fashion has moved on. But this is where the recommendation needs guardrails. The Grand Caravan is not number 2 because it has Toyota-level resale, or because every example will cruise to extreme mileage untouched. It is here because the purchase price can be low enough to leave room in the budget for maintenance, and because the right later example avoids one of the early Pentastar concerns. Select 2011 through 2013 vehicles with the 3.6-liter engine experienced left cylinder head problems that could cause misfires and a check engine light. Choosing 2014 or newer reduces exposure to that specific early build issue, though it does not eliminate the need for a scan and inspection. Certain 2015 and 2016 vehicles with the 6.2 TE transaxle were also recalled because an improperly manufactured oil pump could cause a loss of hydraulic pressure and motive power. A VIN check is mandatory because model year alone cannot tell you whether a specific van was involved or repaired. The transmission itself is the part that should control the test drive. The 6.2 TE can provide long service when maintained and driven normally, but it is not a unit to buy with unexplained slipping, delayed engagement, harsh banging shifts, or burnt fluid. Start the van cold if possible. Move slowly from park to reverse, and then drive, allowing a moment in each position. Engagement should be prompt and controlled. During the drive, use light throttle, moderate throttle, and a firm highway merge. A transmission that behaves only after warming up is not just a Dodge thing, it is a warning. Service records matter, and the correct fluid matters. If the seller says the transmission was flushed somewhere, but cannot say when, why, or with what, that story is not worth extra money. The Pentastar also deserves a careful leak inspection. Look around the top center of the engine, the oil filter area, the valve covers, and underneath for oil or coolant residue. Listen at idle for persistent ticking that does not fade after startup. And confirm the cooling fans work, because a minivan hauling 7 people in summer traffic creates more heat than an empty commuter car. None of those observations automatically condemns the van, but each one changes the price and the repair plan. The power equipment can be more irritating than the engine. Cycle both sliding doors and the liftgate several times. Check that the doors reverse when obstructed. Latch fully, and do not grind through the track. Open the stow and go floor bins and look for moisture, corrosion, food debris, or evidence that the wells became indoor swimming pools. Inspect the rocker panels, rear wheel arches, subframes, and brake lines carefully in snowbelt states, because a low purchase price does not make structural rust affordable. Then, sit in every row and test every climate control zone. Rear air that blows warm can turn a cheap van into a rolling argument by July. The strongest Grand Caravan purchase is usually a later, privately owned van with maintenance records, clean fluid behavior, functioning doors, and no severe fleet abuse. A former rental is not automatically bad, but its price should reflect the possibility of many drivers, heavy idling, curb impacts, and maintenance performed to a schedule, rather than to a relationship with the vehicle. Mileage also has to be interpreted honestly. A highway-driven 140,000-mile van with records can be preferable to an 80,000-mile example that spent its life making short trips, idling in school lines, and missing oil changes. Who is this van for? The buyer who needs a huge amount of interior utility wants stow and go, and understands that the savings at purchase should not all be spent on a television the same weekend. Keep a repair reserve. Who should avoid it? The buyer who wants to purchase solely on reputation, refuses to inspect the transmission, or expects every electronic convenience to work forever without attention. The Grand Caravan is the value play, not the prestige play, and not the safest blind purchase. Treat it like a commercial tool. Inspect it hard, budget realistically, and choose condition over leather seats. When bought that way, it can provide a level of usefulness that is almost embarrassing for vehicles costing several times more. Now we reach the van that explains the entire used minivan opportunity. It is not the cheapest, and that is important. The market already knows it has a strong reputation, so clean examples often cost more than comparable Dodges or Hondas. But the right generation combines a simple, powerful V6, a conventional automatic, strong parts support, and family-friendly packaging in a way that still feels modern enough for daily use. Number 1 is the 2012 through 2016 Toyota Sienna, with the 3.5-liter 2GR-FE V6, especially in front-wheel drive form, for buyers who do not need all-wheel drive. Toyota rated this engine at 266 horsepower and paired it with a 6-speed automatic. It is naturally aspirated and uses port fuel injection, and this version predates the 2017 Sienna's move to a newer direct-injected V6 and 8-speed automatic. That does not make the 2017 or later van bad. It simply makes the 2012 through 2016 powertrain attractive to buyers who value a longer service history and fewer layers of fuel system complexity. The 2GR engine family also appeared in several Toyota and Lexus products, helping create broad parts availability and deep technician familiarity. The engine uses a timing chain rather than a scheduled timing belt, which removes the Odyssey's major belt service decision from the shopping process. Do not translate that into maintenance-free. Timing chains depend on clean oil and correct oil level, and the Sienna still has water pumps, seals, ignition coils, oxygen sensors, cooling components, and motor mounts that age like those on any other vehicle. The advantage is not immortality. It is a powertrain with a reputation built across many years and many applications, installed in a body that remains one of the most useful shapes a family can own. The Sienna's value appears when you compare what daily life actually demands with what new vehicle marketing tries to sell. Most owners need doors that open in tight parking spaces, a third row adults can reach, enough power for an interstate ramp, and a cargo floor that can swallow the evidence of a weekend project. A 2012 through 2016 Sienna does all of that without requiring its owner to learn charging habits, turbocharger cooling routines, or complicated drive mode menus. It also offers all-wheel drive on some versions, a feature that was unusual in the minivan segment. But front-wheel drive is the recommendation for most value-focused buyers because it has fewer driveline components, allows conventional tire choices more easily, and is usually cheaper to maintain. Drivers in deep snow regions may reasonably prefer all-wheel drive, but they should inspect the system, keep tire sizes and wear closely matched, and understand that additional capability brings additional hardware. Why begin at 2012 instead of 2011? The 2011 Sienna can still be a good van, but certain earlier examples experienced seepage or leaks from the engine oil cooler pipe. A documented updated pipe is a positive sign. A properly repaired 2011 should not be rejected automatically, but starting with 2012 gives a shopper a cleaner target and simplifies the search. The bigger concern across 2011 through 2016 is the power sliding door system. Certain Siennas from those years were recalled or included in support programs related to power sliding door operation cables, latches, and corrosion-related closing problems. That means the doors are not a 2-second courtesy check. They are a full inspection category. Run the VIN through the official recall lookup. Operate both doors from every switch and handle. Try them on level ground, and if safe, on a slight incline. Listen for cable grinding, watch for hesitation, confirm that the door closes and latches without bouncing back, and test manual operation with the power system switched off. A beautiful Sienna with one failing door can still be worth buying, but only if the price reflects a real repair estimate instead of a seller's promise that it just needs lubrication. The engine inspection should begin cold. Listen for abnormal rattles after the initial startup moment. Look for coolant residue near the water pump area. Inspect the timing cover region and valve cover areas for oil seepage, and confirm that the coolant is clean and at the proper level. A 2GR-FE water pump job can involve meaningful labor, so pink or white crust around the pump area is not decorative. During the drive, the V6 should pull smoothly, and the 6-speed automatic should shift without flare, shudder, or delayed engagement. Test it in stop-and-go traffic and during a highway merge, because some problems hide when the throttle barely moves. Check the brakes for vibration. Listen for front suspension clunks over broken pavement, and inspect the rear shock area. A minivan may look like a gentle family appliance, but many spend years overloaded with passengers, roof boxes, trailers, and cargo. The maintenance records should show regular oil changes, coolant service at appropriate intervals, transmission fluid attention, brake fluid service, and evidence that recalls were completed. Do not pay a Toyota premium for a folder containing only car wash receipts. Interior condition also tells a story. Excessive wear on the driver's seat, steering wheel sliding door handles, and cargo threshold can reveal heavier use than the odometer suggests. Check the spare tire arrangement. All seat tracks the third row, folding mechanism, rear climate controls, power outlets, entertainment system, if equipped, and the rear liftgate. Smell the carpeting after the van has been closed for a while. A musty odor can indicate water intrusion that a quick detail job tried to hide. Look underneath for rust, especially in northern states, and inspect the exhaust shields and brake lines. The Sienna's resale strength can be both an advantage and a trap. It helps preserve value after you buy, but it also encourages sellers to price neglected vans as though the Toyota emblem performed all maintenance by itself. A high asking price is not proof of quality. Compare several examples, pay for an independent inspection, and be willing to walk away. The best Sienna is rarely the cheapest one in the search results. It is the one with the clearest history, the smoothest drivetrain, the driest engine, the healthiest doors, and an owner who can explain what was done without inventing a mystery mechanic who moved overseas. Who is it for? The buyer who wants the most balanced combination of longevity potential, family usefulness resale demand, and straightforward V6 performance. Who should skip it? Someone whose budget is so tight that paying the Toyota premium leaves no repair reserve. Or someone who needs the lowest possible purchase price more than the lowest possible ownership anxiety. In that case, a carefully selected Grand Caravan may make more sense. The Sienna wins not because it guarantees a giant odometer number, but because the 2012 through 2016 version gives buyers a proven mechanical foundation and fewer reasons to gamble on untested complexity. So what is the real lesson? It is not that old vans are always better than new ones, and it is not that every family should avoid modern hybrids, driver assistance systems, or a factory warranty. New vehicles can deliver better crash protection, better fuel economy, newer convenience features, and years of predictable coverage. The lesson is that purchase price and transportation value are not the same thing. A minivan is one of the few vehicles whose image often depreciates faster than its usefulness. People stop wanting the style long before the doors stop opening or the cargo floor stops working, and that creates an opportunity for buyers who can separate condition from status. The Odyssey is the driver's choice, but its timing belt and early piston ring history demand documentation. The Grand Caravan is the utility bargain, but its transmission behavior, recall history, and electrical equipment deserve a ruthless inspection. The Sienna is the balanced, long-term choice, but only when the Toyota Premium buys real maintenance history rather than a polished hood. Before purchasing any of them, check the VIN for open recalls, inspect the van cold scan for codes, test every door and climate zone, review service records, and pay an independent shop to look underneath. One inspection can cost less than a single power door repair. Which of these three would you trust with your family? And which overlooked minivan has treated you well past the mileage where everyone told you to sell it? Share the year, engine, and biggest repair in the comments, because real ownership details help the next buyer. And if you want more buyer guides that focus on the exact year's engines and warning signs that matter, like the video and subscribe. The smartest vehicle is not automatically the newest one. It is the one whose weaknesses you understood before money changed hands.